So I think with any kind of leadership, corporate leadership, personal leadership is the most important. How do I show up as Mbithe?
Yeah.
What are the things that are not sitting well? And I think for you and maybe for people who are younger, take some time to just evaluate what's the space that I've grown up in and how do I want to show up for myself, but how do I also heal so that then I'm at peace and I'm bringing the best and bringing out the best for the people around me, whether it's in a corporate space, in a social space, in a voluntary space, in whichever space, always showing up at your best, I think.
Oh, that is amazing. I think those are very important things to do, just investing in yourself. And thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Now looking at just the work-life balance and after a long week or a long day, and you've mentioned reading, which I really like. I too am trying to become a reader.
Is it? Welcome,
Yes,
welcome.
yeah. What are some of the things that you do to maintain your health and mental well-being? And what does that look like?
Well, first I sing in a choir.
Oh,
And the people are fun. Oh my gosh. I think
that's fantastic.
I keep saying we eat and sing and laugh.
Yeah.
So that has been a blessing to me. So I sing in the choir in my church.
Oh, wow.
So we're always, it's so much fun. So it's a space where I'm like, I get in and I forget everything. Of course, there's working out. Then I read the Bible as well.
Oh, wow.
And just try and just be quiet in the presence of the Lord. I'm like, help me. Because as I was saying with wisdom, I think as you get into spaces of leadership and probably high up in the hierarchy, I don't feel like I have what it takes to be responsible for so many souls or to be responsible for some of the targets that are put my way. So just sitting and understanding. And let me quickly just share the story of Daniel in chapter 2. So Daniel is in a space where the king says he's had a dream. He will not tell anyone his dream, but he expects them to interpret it. So he calls all the magicians, all the Chaldeans, and he's like, and if you don't interpret it, because they ask him, okay, how do you interpret your dream? First tell us. He's like, you're trying to pull my leg and take my time. So he says, I'm going to kill all of you if you don't tell me my dream. And if you don't tell me what it means.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the pressure of like, we're not dreaming with you. So Daniel hears about it and he says, ask him for time. And he goes and he prays to the Lord. And the Lord shows him the dream and he gives him the interpretation. So you can imagine the impact of just that one moment of prayer. It saved all the lives of this other people because they did not have an answer. And at that point, the king declared, like, oh my gosh, the God of Daniel, he knows everything, you know. And it says that by the time Daniel was called, he was excellent. He had great insight. He had great knowledge. He had great wisdom, more than everybody else. But then later on, the story continues because then he was put in a den of lions because he used to pray 3 times a day. So the fact that he actually needed help from God and he made it public, he was actually accused and persecuted for it. But the story ends saying that he got out of the den. And because he put his trust in God, there was nothing on him that was amiss. And then the people who tried to put him there were put in. By the time they were getting to the floor of the den, it was a wrap. So when I read the sad stories and understand, ultimately, we are here because the Lord brought us and He'll get us out. And the well-being of others, I think God is probably more concerned about you than I'll ever be. So He can show me what you can do. So I think that particular space of constantly asking the Lord, what would you have me do? What can I do? How do I balance this corporate objectives? Helps. But ultimately, I love to laugh. I love to smile. So sunshine, sunlight, flowers, anything. I take rounds. When the day is long, I'll probably go and have a coffee, just trying to settle my soul as well.
Oh, that's amazing. And you have a very beautiful smile.
Thank you so much.
And what legacy do you hope to leave in your work or in the general broad industry?
So I do work in the capital market space. And the last 2 years, I was quite privileged to be a rapporteur to the capital markets roundtable. So this was a space where the CEOs and the chairpersons of the different anchor companies of the capital markets were seated. And when we started off that roundtable, the question we were trying to answer is, how do we enhance uptake of our products? Where did we lose the mark? Where do we need to correct? And how do we move forward? And in that role, there was a lot of research, a lot of convening, a lot of getting many voices into the room to understand what do we need to do to move forward. That was very exciting because we engaged with the ministry, with the Presidential Council of Economic Advisors at that juncture. We engaged with the State House. We were in engagement with the National Treasury, because I think the crux at that point was to say you can't have an economy where people are borrowing in the billions, where people are allocating money to betting. There's something that's wrong if it's not coming to the capital markets. Let me give you a very basic example. The capital markets is a space where you come with your company that makes 1 shilling, and that shilling can be extended 15 times. That's the only place that does that for you, because it has a multiplier impact. So all these companies, if we were to buy shares in them, put them in the stock exchange and they go up, you can easily clear out the dependence on debt at a national level and at an individual level. So what we were all seated trying to understand, what is the way forward? So in that context, then again, aligned to my own personal life purpose, financial empowerment for Africa, starting with Kenya, the legacy and my contribution that I'd like to make, at least at this point in time, is to say, how do we open up the doors of the Nairobi Securities Exchange to people? How do we open up the doors and make them palatable for companies to come in and to be able to raise equity capital to build their businesses? Debt financing is good, but it is expensive. These businesses are so good in Kenya, they can expand within the region. Equity capital is patient. It's long-term. It gives them the flexibility to be able to take risks in other markets. And with that, I'd want them Kenyans to come in and support that venture so that we can be able to move it forward and also enhance the economic growth. The other perspective is, how do we also get funding of government opportunities? How do we get listings here? So how do we mobilize that kind of capital? So those are the thoughts that sit in my heart. And I cannot say that it would be an Mbithe legacy that I'll be the one to change. No one person can change. But I think for me, my continuous contribution is, can I help you with financial literacy? Can we get the company listed? Can we get the government opportunities into the market? Can we get each and every person coming in with a shilling and living with 15 shillings, if not more, over time? If I'm able to contribute in one way or the other to that, if I'm given the opportunities and privileges, I think I'm more than willing to serve and to be able to see people celebrating wealth and coming here and filling this space and saying, we made capital, we made wealth through the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. I think there's definitely a huge possibility for that, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
It's been an honor to sit here with you and just hear the amazing stories and the remarkable lessons that you have picked up along the way. You're truly phenomenal, and I really thank you for taking the time to sit down with me today.
Thank you for affirming me. Yeah. And I'll say the same thing about you. I think you're doing an amazing job in speaking to many women. And I pray and hope that as you speak to us and you get this, you might be able to go and mentor others and build another sector and section of leaders as we go forward. So I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.